My Lords, in introducing this bill, the Noble Lord the Minister said that economic stability is the rock on which all else must be built. I would respectfully suggest that that is a reflection of what's been described as Treasury brain, a subject that the Noble Lord Macpherson and I have previously had some discussions on. I would posit that the rocks on which our society rests depend on are the health, the energy, the talents, the skills of its people, the state of its environment, and the capacity of its infrastructure and services, from the quality of the housing to the facilities of our NHS. And I pick up here the points made by the Noble Lord Eatwell and the Noble Lady Baroness Wheatcroft. There's also the question of what is the economy for? The economy is there to meet the needs of the people and to care for our environment. We are not all here to work for the economy, and I fear that's something that's all too often forgotten. Also too often forgotten is the fact that the economy is a complete subset of our physical and natural world, and the understanding that we cannot have infinite growth on a finite planet. The UK is now using its share of the resources of more than 3 planets, and we have to go back to one planet living fast, and that is the frame in which we have to think about, in all ways, the economy. Now, mainstream economic thinking has a phrase that it's very attached to, ceteris paribus, that's the Latin, all other things being unchanged or constant. Now, I'd actually very much welcome the fact that the Office for Budget Responsibility has, I think, been showing increasing awareness of the fact that things are not staying the same in terms of the environment, physical and human, in which the economy is operating. I note that since 2017 it's been producing the Fiscal Risks and Sustainability Report, the last of which was presented to Parliament in July 2023. And I note that now lists 57 risks, some of which might be described as purely economic, but many of which relate to the state of the physical and the human world. And the OBR is picking up some of the risks that we're facing. And I would particularly draw to the attention of noble lords in this House who like to question spending towards the country reaching net zero, that the OBR says that there is a risk of a delayed transition to net zero, significantly raising fiscal costs. I also note that there's 4 risks added in this latest report: persistent and high inflation, rising global trade tensions, global security threats and cyber attacks. Now, I would say that at least the first 3 of those are very much related to the climate emergency. We're seeing the impact, for example, of food prices that the climate emergency is having, something that is only, I'm afraid, going to keep getting worse. Ceteris paribus certainly does not apply to the state of our world. The old economic verities will not hold, if indeed they ever did. I also think it's worth noting that the OBR report talks about one of the unchanged continuing risks is the risk of financial crisis and the non-payment of taxes. And I note the fact that in your Lordship's House, with backing from the now government and the now opposition, we recently passed the Financial Services and Markets Act, which contains a push to grow the financial sector, which the OBR has identified as a significant risk to all of our futures. And I just picking up that point about the climate spending. The OBR says that if we don't act now and invest now, the public investments needed to support the decarbonisation of power, buildings and industry could reach $17 billion a year by 2030. As our own Independent Committee on Climate Change has very much been making clear, if we invest now, we save ourselves, if you want to phrase it that way, we save the economy very significant costs and risks in the future. And just finally, I want to particularly note the OBR's reference to the issue of people of working age not being in paid employment. Now, the figures in the 2023 report was talking about 2.6 million people of working age not in the labour force for health reasons. Those figures reached 2.83 million in April. If we're going to be looking at our economic future, we absolutely have to think about investing in a healthier society. The OBR says that although there's much talk about the NHS, people being on NHS waiting lists, that's only a small part of the problem. We have a deeply unhealthy society, and that's something the Treasury and the government needs to be thinking about when looking at its spending plans.
Hear, hear.